Hi, everybody. Welcome to another edition of the 12-ounce sports update on this Monday, October the 21st, 2022, 24 rather. How's everybody doing? Captain Lou with you in the chair on this Monday. A great sports weekend, everybody. The NFL kicking it into high gear. A lot of great games going on. We got a doubleheader coming up tonight. Again, another Monday night duo, 8 o'clock and 9 o'clock. We'll talk a little bit about that towards the end of the update. Yesterday, some great NFL games. The Lions knocked off the previously undefeated Minnesota Vikings 31-29 on a last-second field goal a last-minute field goal by Jake Bates from 44 yards out. Kansas City, they now stand alone as the only undefeated team in the NFL, a 28-18 win over the San Francisco 49ers, who are now at 3-4, and they are reeling. So we'll talk a little bit about what went on in the NFL as well. Major League Baseball, the World Series is set. It's going to be the Los Angeles Dodgers and the New York Yankees. The best World Series money could buy between the two teams with the highest payrolls. The Mets, of course, could not quite come up the Dodgers, rather, took care of the Mets in 6 games. All those games won by an average of over 5.5 runs, and the Yankees took care of the Guardians in 5 games, winning Game 5 in Cleveland on Saturday. So it's going to be this Friday night, Game 1, the Dodgers and the Yankees for all the marbles. The first time those two teams have met since 1981, and then in that series, the LA Dodgers beat the New York Yankees to win the World Series. The Dodgers haven't won a World Series since 1988. And the Yankees since 2009. Hey, we had some great college football games over the weekend as well. Georgia, they defeated Texas, and it was kind of a controversial game. A lot of weird stuff going on in that one, but Georgia, they lay claim now, if not the best team in the SEC, they're darn close as they knock off the previously undefeated Texas Longhorns. And so also, hey, how about a big win for Indiana? First time that they've been 7-0 since 1967, and Illinois outmuscled Michigan. We'll talk more about that. And, of course, we have the Liberty win their first WNBA crown, not without controversy, as a questionable foul call on Breanna Stewart towards the end of regulation, or getting her to the foul line to get 2 free throws, or else the Lynx would have clinched it more than likely. Not a good look for the WNBA, so we'll talk more about that. So a lot to talk about on our update, brought to you as always by tickets.12ouncesports.com/tickets. We'll be back with more of our update right after this.
Need tickets to that next event? Well, at 12-ounce sports, we've got them with soccer anywhere in the world. Tickets to any venue, any sport. Want to go to NCAA or NFL football matches? We've got them.
Yeah.
Baseball at every level. Every Power 5 matchup is available. Don't forget, costumes and paint are optional. What's that? You want to go to Broadway? We have those too. Want to jam out? Every concert, every artist. That's right, at 12-ounce sports, we've got the tickets for less. 12ozsports.com/tickets. That's 12ouncesports.com/tickets.
Indeed, you are. There's some big games coming up this weekend. We talked about the World Series. You want to go to the World Series, you want tickets in either LA or New York, go to or 12ouncesports.com/tickets. I think we may have a few available for those. Also, the big games coming up this weekend in the NFL and in college football and the NHL. Their season is underway as well. Go to 12ouncesports.com/tickets. All right, we talked about the Lions knocking off the previously undefeated Minnesota Vikings. The Lions now 5-1, tied with the Vikings for the top spot in the NFC North, along with the NFC, looking pretty strong as one of the top teams in the NFL. How about the Green Bay Packers? They beat the Texans on a last-second field goal. McManus, who just signed on this week as a kicker for the Packers, you remember him from the Denver Broncos, he kicked the game-winning field goal. So the Packers are 5-2, only a half game behind the Lions. And, of course, Minnesota at 5-1. We also talk about the Vikings with their big win over or their loss to the Lions. How about Kansas City defeating San Francisco, Kansas City now the only undefeated team in the NFL at 6-0. The New York Jets and the Pittsburgh Steelers on Sunday Night Football last night. Russell Wilson got his first start, looked a little shaky in the first half, found his groove after halftime, and the Steelers blew out the Jets 37-15. Aaron Rodgers, who does he blame now? He's blaming the media. He said he's not worried about them, and I think he needs to look in the mirror. But anyways, the Steelers now at 5-2, and the Jets now at 2-5. Take a look at some of the scores in the NFL from week number 7 in the NFL. Let's see. I thought I had that up. Again, the magic of live television. I'll tell you what, just when I thought I had those scores, I beg your pardon for that. Okay, let's get to the scores from last night in the NFL. How about the Seahawks? They're now 4-3, a 34-14 win over the Atlanta Falcons. The Buffalo Bills 34-10 over the Titans. They're now at 5-0, one of the top teams in the NFL. The Bengals over the Browns 21-14. We talked about the Packers. The Colts with a big win. They're at 4-3, only a game behind the Texans, 16-10 over the Dolphins. The Eagles manhandled the Giants, and Saquon Barkley's return to New York, 28-3 was the Rams over the Raiders, 20-15 in a who cares game. The Commanders, 40-7 over the Carolina Panthers in that game. Jaden Daniels left with a rib injury. He's considered week to week, and we mentioned coming up tonight, we got a couple of Monday Night Football games, the Ravens and the Bucks and the Cardinals and the Chargers. All right, again, going back to the Cleveland game against Cincinnati, Deshaun Watson looked like he was playing halfway decent in that opening game. He started out good in the opening half. He's got a season-ending, if not career-ending, Achilles injury. And to those fans that booed him or cheered for him when he went off on the stretcher, man, shame on you in Cleveland, as Deshaun Watson now out for the rest of the year with a torn Achilles. Who knows if he's going to come back in 2025 as a member of the Cleveland Browns. He's owed a lot of money. We'll have to wait and see on that. Speaking of kind of an embarrassment, let's go back to the Georgia-Texas game. Georgia, as we mentioned, knocked off the Texas Longhorns this weekend. They are indeed the top team in the SEC. Right now ranked number 2 in the country in the Associated Press poll. Oregon is number 1. Ohio State is 3. And Penn State is 4. And Texas is 5. The embarrassing thing about that is the fans, the way they behaved in the end zone after that pass interference call. And the referees, after seeing all that, got together. They reversed it, much to the chagrin of the Georgia faithful, or the Georgia fans, and their head coach, Kirby Smart. But it was all for naught, as Georgia was able to hold them off. Texas got fined $250,000 today by the SEC for that outburst by the fans. And they say that if they can identify any of the fans that threw the bottles and the cans and whatnot out of the fans, or anybody out of the stands at Texas Stadium, at Longhorn Stadium, they're going to be banned from all athletic events through the rest of the 24-25 season. So we'll keep an eye on that. We talked about Indiana. They stay unbeaten, winning a monster game over Nebraska, 56-7. Their first 7-0 start since 1967, when they last went to the Rose Bowl. They got a good shot at maybe going an 11-1 record and maybe getting into the playoff. They still have to play Ohio State, and we all know that'll probably end up, but that could be a dandy. Both teams going into that one, looking for a spot in the Big Ten championship game. As we mentioned, Indiana, they are undefeated. Illinois, in a battle of ranked teams against Michigan, won that one easily, 21-7. The game was not as close as that score indicated. In Illinois, kind of flexed their muscles at home. Michigan, they look like a lost ship, a rudderless ship out there right now with no quarterback situation. Their offense looks very anemic. Next up for Michigan, it's Maylocks week this weekend against an up-and-coming Michigan State team. Michigan State opens up a 5.5. Well, they opened up a 7-point underdog. Now it's down to 5.5. We'll have to wait and see on that. If I was you, I would think about maybe taking the Spartans in that one at plus 5.5. USC, again, embarrassed in Big Ten play. They had a 28-14 lead going into the second half, into the fourth quarter. Maryland, with a comeback for the ages, they win that one in stunning fashion, 29-28. USC now with 4 losses by a total of 10 points. not quite ready for Big Ten play maybe this year. Lincoln Riley now has to kind of go back to the drawing board again. If USC, they still got a couple of tough games left. We'll see if they can remain bowl eligible. And how about Florida State and Duke? In all these years of college football with these two teams, this past Saturday was the first time that Duke ever beat Florida, or Florida State rather, in football. So that's kind of an interesting tidbit. And going back to the SEC, Alabama loses to Tennessee this weekend, 21-14. So now in the AP poll, Indiana is ranked ahead of Alabama in football. Who would have thought, right? All right, we mentioned the World Series is set. It's going to be the Dodgers and the Yankees starting on Friday night. Game one, you've got Juan Soto, you've got Aaron Judge, you got Giancarlo Stanton going up against Shohei Ohtani, Mookie Betts, and the rest of the Dodgers. It's going to come down to pitching staffs, in my opinion, and the relief pitching. We know how the Dodgers like to go with the bullpen games, and so do the Yankees. It's the new way to go in Major League Baseball. This could be a classic, especially if you like major markets, as it's going to be the Yankees and the Dodgers, two of the biggest payrolls in Major League Baseball and all of professional sports. They're going to duke it out starting this coming Friday. We have to wait until Friday for game one of the World Series. So Dodgers and the Yankees. I'm going to go with the Yankees in 7. I think this is going to be a dynamite series. The Yankees will get their first World Series crown since 2009. Going back to pro football, Monday Night Football doubleheader tonight. First off, it's going to be the Ravens at the Bucks. The Ravens are a 4-point favorite, and the over-under on this one is 49.5. Man, I don't know what to do on this one. I'm going to take the Ravens. I think they're on a roll, and I think their defense, and I think they've got just too many weapons on offense for the Bucks. Give me the Ravens laying the 4. And in the nightcap, if you will, the Chargers at the Cardinals. The Cardinals are such an up-and-down team, a Jekyll and Hyde team. Right now, the Chargers are a 1-point favorite on the road at Arizona, so that means it's a toss-up. Boy, I'll tell you what, I'll go with the over on this one. I'm not going to take the point spread. If I was a betting man, and we all know I am, I would take the over 44.5. So we mentioned Deshaun Watson with the torn Achilles. He's out for the rest of the year. Jaden Daniels with a rib injury is considered week to week. Brandon Ayuk for the 49ers blew out his ACL last night in that loss to Kansas City. He's out for the year. So another big blow for the San Francisco 49ers as they fall to 3-0 in that loss to Kansas City. And finally, last night, the New York Liberty won their first WNBA crown in their team's history. Hard to believe a team in a major market like that would win the crown, or it was just their first one. Well, indeed it was, as they beat the Minnesota Lynx in 5 games, not without any controversy. That foul they called to put Breanna Stewart on the line was absolutely abominable, but that's how the whole series went, the whole 5 games. The Liberty by far got the benefits of the calls, but that's nothing different when it comes to pro basketball at the WNBA or the NBA level. If you're a major market team, you're going to get the calls, and that's indeed what happened. Now they're also opting out of their CBA is the WNBA with a looming work stoppage potentially in 2025. Good luck with that. All right, that's going to do it for this edition of the 12-Ounce Sports Update. Join me tomorrow night, 7 o'clock, for another edition of the ACHA Power Play. Sports broadcaster, ACHA commentator, play-by-play man Reagan Cleves will join us. We're going to talk about the rankings in the men's and women's Division I and the play going on right now in the ACHA men's Division III level. That's Tuesday night at 7 o'clock live here on 12-Ounce Sports. And then Wednesday, 7 o'clock, don't forget to join us for another edition of the Captain Lou Extravaganza. All right, everybody, thanks for joining us. We'll see you next Monday right here at 6:30 for my next edition of the 12-Ounce Sports Update. This reminder, keep your heads up, keep your sticks down, keep your feet moving, and as always, keep your minds open. Good night, everybody. Enjoy your sports.